Howdy y'all, Little Star Rider here. I'm here with my friend Doug, and we're going to do a little chat about the best travel apps that I've been using. So you guys stick around.
Hi, I'm here with Rex Covington, and we're going to talk about the apps that he uses during his travels around the country.
Hi, I'm Rex.
I'm Doug.
I've been traveling for the last 5 months, and I've been using apps. And Doug here wanted to know what I was doing.
I want to know how he finds the good places to stay, how he finds the best rates, and what other information there is out there. Everything we talk about, there'll be links down below so you can find links to all these apps. Rex, what do you use about planes, buses, and trains?
Well, I typically don't fly a lot because I hate it. Because of all the security checks and stuff like that. But when I do have to fly, what I like to do is I like to either use an app that's called Google Flights, and I think it's either called Google Trips or Google Flights, and that's a really good app to do several things. Number one, you can track other people's flights coming in, and you know when you can pick them up. That's what I use that for more than I do anything else. And there's also another app that's called the Flight Tracker, and there's a paid and a free version on that. So you can use that type of, that works, and Google Flights does the same thing. But I think the travel tracker is better because it gives you a graphic view of the plane where it's at on a map, which is pretty darn cool. The other thing is if I'm going to book a flight, I typically like to use the airlines that I'm going to pick, but TripAdvisor is probably the biggest one I would use for that. I know there's other ones out there, like Kayak every once in a while for hotels, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. What I do for buses is Greyhound. I just use their app. It's easy to use. Oh, trains. I forgot about trains.
Never been on a train, Rex, so I don't know that much about them.
I've only been on a train once, but there are other ways of getting around in cities, like buses and trains. And usually you have to go to the city or the state apps for those. So riding trains or buses around, particularly like we used to do in San Francisco, we would buy a week pass, and then you could hop on a bus or train and everything would be great. So didn't really need an app for that, but there are apps for it. And the reason for the app is when you want to know when the train or bus is going to stop at a particular point, so you don't have to be out in the cold or the weather. The Amtrak one is about the only one you can really use. Greyhound also includes Amtrak in there when you do a search for going from places to places, which is.
And on RV and car apps, Rex, since you're pulling a trailer behind your bike, you might tell us a little bit about that.
I certainly can, Doug. Number one, when you're traveling by RV or motorcycle pulling an RV or in your car, the number one thing you're really concerned about is gas. Gas prices. I use Gas Buddy for that, and that is an awesome app to find the cheapest gas price. My understanding you hadn't used it in a while, but
not in a long time.
Right. But it's a good place to see where the cheapest gas is. And it may be across the street or just a couple of streets over. The other thing is when you're traveling, pulling an RV, or you're traveling in a car or something, sometimes it's good to get other transportation. And I use Uber a lot. Otherwise, like when I camp, and then I'll just use Uber, and it'll take me a couple of places, and I don't have to move the trailer and stuff because I don't disconnect the motorcycle. The biggest app that I use is an app called Allstay RV and Camp, and that app is awesome because it tells you about every places that are free and places that are from cheap to expensive. I try not, like I said, I tried to do stuff for free, but there are times you have to pay, like going to a state park or something. But if you didn't know, there are like Walmarts, you can park in their parking lot. Not all of them, but it depends on the city ordinance. And Cracker Barrels, there's truck stops that you can just park your RV at, and it doesn't cost anything. And I particularly like the truck stops because they got cheap showers, and their showers are usually really nice. The Pilots and the Flying J's. The next one I use is called RV Parkey, and it does pretty much the same thing as All-Stay Camp and RV, but sometimes it'll have places that people use that. And there's certain clubs, and I don't remember the name, that like to use this app, so they'll put information in there that the other apps don't get.
Kind of like the KOA app will have information that some of the other apps won't have because they're exclusively about camping and they want big RVs or little RVs or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And a little note, I do use KOA, and I am a member of KOA, and I don't like staying at KOAs because they're expensive.
But they've got some amenities that other camps probably don't.
That is true, they do. It's more family-oriented type camping, and the kids can go play in the swimming pool, and they have a whole bunch of other stuff that I typically don't use. So the other app that I use, which actually works better on a computer than it does on the app, is called Free Camping. And freecamping.com on your laptop works a lot better. Now, the other two apps I talked about, the All-Stay Camp and RV and RV Parkies, does the same thing, but sometimes people don't put the same information. So those are the big apps that I use for finding those campsites like that.
All right, let's talk about hotels a little bit.
I do stay in hotels every once in a while, usually about every 2 weeks, if I have the money to do it, because it's good to get out of that little camper I'm in. The big one I really like to use is Airbnb. The only thing that I don't like about Airbnb is that it won't let you pick the day that you're going to stay the night. You have to have at least 1 day notice before. And lots of times I'm not sure where I'm going to be at. If you're on schedule and your plan is working right, and you know you're going to be in a certain area at a certain time, it would be good to use that app. Now, saying that, my biggest thing for hotels is that you usually get the best price if you use the hotel's app, like Best Western and Marriott. You use their app, you usually will get the best price. That's not totally true, but it is for the most part. But other apps that you can use when you're looking at all of that is there's one called Kayak that I use all the time, Hotels.com, and TripAdvisor. Now, TripAdvisor I use a lot, so that would be something. And if you're really wanting to be adventurous, you can use Couchsurfing.com.
Oh, gosh. That sounds scary.
Well, it is at first, but I've done it like maybe a half a dozen times, about 6 times, and you really meet some nice people. And the thing about Couchsurfing.com is you want to make sure they're verified and certified when you pick a place to stay. Most of those are free, and lots of times you just leave them a tip or something, and it's not a bad thing.
Okay.
And it's not for everybody. So, but Couchsurfing, you can either go Couchsurfing.com or you can get the app, and there are a lot of people that share their couches with you. So,
Okay.
and not all couches are comfortable.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the camping related apps.
The camping, and some of these categories, apps will fall back in to the same thing, like the All Stays Camp and RV. They actually have a particular app that's called RV Camp and Tent, and it excludes the RVs. So if you don't have an RV and you're just looking for campsites, then you probably want to buy that other app. So Allstay is a great app for doing that kind of stuff. So you want to take a look at that. Some other apps that are good for preparation is, before you go is called Outbound. The Outbound app is a very pretty app, but it shows you pictures of places and stuff like that you can go explore. So you might want to check the Outbound. That's pretty good. The other one, which kind of goes across the board, I should have talked about that in the RV one, is Campinium. Bunch of places where you can camp. The other app is Free Camping, and it's called Free Camping. You just do it. We'll have the link down below. But Free Camping is pretty good. It shows you different campsites like BML, National Forest, and just other places that you find out there.
What's a BML?
BML is, what's the...
Bureau of Land Management?
Yeah, Bureau of Land Management. It's good to know.
Yes. Acronyms are iffy sometimes.
That's true. This one I like to find state parks. It's really good. Unless you're in Texas, there's another app for that. It's called Park Finder, and it'll find the nearest park to you, which is very cool. And it tells you if you can camp there or not camp there. Very cool app. And then the other thing is, if you're in a particular state, see if they have an app for their state, for state parks. I do that all the time. And the one for Texas State Park app is awesome. You can do reservations on there, all kinds of neat stuff. And if you don't do a reservation in Texas, you ain't going to get it unless it's during the week and off season. Because they are very popular.
Okay. I'm sure there are a lot of apps that don't really fit in a category. Have you got a miscellaneous category?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because you got apps that you want to have to prepare for your trip.
Guys, I have forgot one app. I should have told y'all in the beginning. It's a planning app. It's called Road Tripper. It's available on a web browser and also by an app, either Apple's iOS or Android. It is an awesome app, and it's free app, very cool. There's an upgrade, and it's called Pro, and I think it's like $30 a year. I am on the Pro version. Very, very cool. So go check that out. Sorry, Doug, forgot to put that one in there.
There's one that I really, really like, and I use a lot, and it's called Packing Pro. And it does cost, I think it's like just a little under $5, but it's well worth it. You can list down everything down that you need to take, different suitcases that you're going to put them in, or bags, all kinds of stuff. And it has an example list that you can send out, which is pretty darn cool, because you can say, hey, I'm going to go camping, for an example, and it will give you an example list, and then you can just take out what you want and add what you need, and it makes it easy. So Packing Pro I recommend, and not just for camping, but for traveling, period.
So if you're going on a trip with friends, you can send them a list of what they're going to need.
Absolutely.
And then you'll have a list of what you'll need.
That, especially if you're sharing too, because sometimes you only need to take one item between several people.
Okay.
It makes it very cool. I would recommend that app a lot.
It's called Packing Pro.
Packing Pro. I already mentioned this, apps by state, not just state parks, but particular states. You can download their apps. Texas has one that's called Texas Traveling, and it's pretty awesome. Has pictures of places and you're going, ooh, I want to see that. So very, very cool. So I would recommend doing that if you know the next state you're going to be in, or the state that you're traveling to, and say, hey, I'm going to check this out, and you can plan it out and say, I want to see this place, this place. If you're going to be in another country, which I'm typically not doing right now, but what I have done, and I used it when I went to Germany with my son, is Google Translate. It's awesome, and you can talk to people.
Dos cervezas, por favor.
Find out what they're saying about you.
That's right.
Okay.
So that. And I did talk about Google Trips. Google Trips will tell you what's near you. Awesome. I hadn't been using it in a while, but I reopened it up for this, and I'm going, I need to be using this. Mm-hmm. So Google Trips, very, very cool. Now, I'm a big, big national park geek. There's just no doubt about it. And I love to get my passport stamped at each of the national park monuments, sites, and all kinds of stuff that they have. Battlegrounds. They have an app that's called National Park. I really like it because I know I mark down which place I've been to and which stamps I've had in my book, and I don't have to remember because I've been to several national park 1, 2, 3, or 4 times. So it's good to know that you don't have to go work and look for it. A really good app that I did use a lot was called Travel Journal. And what's cool about Travel Journal is that it would track you and you could see your little breadcrumbs going. And also you could journal in the app and you could take pictures and put them in. I don't use that much anymore because I use an app called Day One. And you can do basically the same thing except for, the breadcrumb things. But if you're going to be journaling, I would recommend Day One to anybody because even if you like to journal or you want to journal about your trip, I would recommend Day One. And if you want to, try out Trip Journal. It's still a good app. It's just not my favorite.
What kind of map-related apps do you use, Rex?
It's a really good question.
Okay.
And it depends. I use one that's made for specifically a motorcycle, and it's called Scenic. But you could use it for anything. You don't have to use that. I also use Apple Maps, and it's a great app. I mean, it works really well, and I'm sure there's people out there that say don't agree, but I think it's great. I did use Google's Maps, and the reason why I used Google Maps was that you could download the map area you were going to be in, and if you didn't have
network
access, it didn't matter. But the problem was, being on a motorcycle, it kept sending me down dirt roads. When I said avoid freeways, tow, especially the freeway part, it would send me down dirt roads, and I would be pulling out the last hair I have in my head going, I can't stand it, quit. And that's why I started using Scenic. Mm-hmm. Scenic will also do the breadcrumb thing, and Scenic I have a hate-love relationship, and I do have a list of 25 things that I don't like about it.
About Scenic.
Yeah, about Scenic. But the developer knows because I sent him the list and he's going, that's a great list and we're going to do a big update that's going to fix a lot of these things.
You're still waiting.
Well, no, it's supposed to be coming in March.
Okay.
March. But otherwise, I love the app. When you're using the app, pay attention. But otherwise, I really do like the app because, number one, you can download maps by state. You don't have to just pick an area like you do in Google Maps. And you can pick the scenic areas, more curvy roads. It takes you places that you would never have gone. The biggest thing for me was being able to download a state, a map or something so you could use it offline.
Okay.
Because that's a big deal when you're traveling. Because there are places that just don't have good internet connection. Or should I say data connection? Yeah.
Data rates or...
Well, whatever. If you got unlimited, it still doesn't matter.
I know. If you can't get it, you can't get it.
You can't get it, you can't get it. And because 3G sucks. I don't care what they say. Yeah. Well, you got any other questions?
No, that's a lot of information, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of links down below.
Down below.
Thank you, Rex.
You're absolutely welcome, and I appreciate it.
Okay.
Great. Guys, if you're not subscribed to me, you should be. Click on that subscribe button down below and then hammer the hell out of that bell, and you'll get an email notification that I've uploaded a video. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's very cool.
And if you would like to be an insider and a supporter of Lone Star Rider, click on that button right up there and check out my Patreon site. You'll be glad you did.
Yes, you.
And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, share, comment, let me know what you think. Catch you on the road. Awesome. Awesome.
Rex, what do you got?
Take two. Do it one more time without stuttering. And all that other biz. It does all that recording and to do several things. I need to quit saying stuff like that. So if you're planned out well and you want to know that you're
Where you're going to stay.
yeah.
Okay.
If you're planned, if you're
on schedule.
app by that other amp.
Uh-oh.
Somebody talking to you?
Hang on.
We're going for a station break. Oh, what is he looking?
He's got deer and
Cow?
cows.
Deer and cows.
Deer and cows. He's hunting pigs, but the deer are taunting him.
Steve is hunting pigs, but there's what was
Bobcats.
it? Bobcats
And deer. And so the word is out that he's hunting pigs, so the pigs are missing, presumably
Pigs are
having a good
missing.
time.
The only pig out there is.
The cows who are eating are vacuuming up all the.
Told you there was no hogs out there.
Okay. We have no proof of hogs.
Yeah, no proof of hogs. Okay, back to camping. All right, everything. So the outbound.
Sorry, I turned the volume down before we started. I promise.
That's all right. Okay. The other amp. Why do I keep saying amp? The other
Application.
application, app. Well, they're called apps.
Apps, I know.
Yeah, the apps. Let Doug know what he thinks.
Tell Doug what he should think.
Yes. That's going to be in the outtakes.
Lone Star Ride.